this is Lavinia at Cross Keys Crafts with my second day of my 12 tags of Christmas. I decided to create little tags with my new Lavinia stamps that I got from the latest release. And in my last video, I created, well, it was supposed to be a twofer, so 2 tags from one background stamping, but I actually created 3. So this was my second try, and I will link to my first video below so you can see how I created this. So basically, after I ink blended through the stencil, I spritzed my stencil and then I stamped with it. And this is what I got. So I've got a hint here of the snowflakes, but it's like they're outlined. The one I really meant to make needed a little bit more ink and a little bit more water, and then you can create something like this. Apologies for my voice, by the way. I went to like a concert thing yesterday here in London at the venue. It was Bjorn again, so lots of other songs I sang along, and I think I lost my voice a little bit. Never mind, it was great fun. So for today, I decided to use the lovely Pip Spell, which is this little mouse. Well, this way around he will be sitting. He will fit on here perfectly. He's so gorgeous. And I've seen lots of makes from the Lavinia design team, so I decided to have a go at that today. And I will stamp him in the pine cone. I think, especially with blue, it's a little bit more pleasing to the eye and less harsh than stamping it in black, but whatever you fancy is fine. So, and I'm inking him up thoroughly. He's not a solid stamp, which is lovely, but I still want him to be properly stamped. So, and sometimes with bigger stamps like that, I'm putting them on the acrylic block in a diagonal way. As long as every part of the stamp that has got an image on it is supported, you will be fine with that. So, yeah, I'll plonk him right in the middle. So, as always, ideally, I'm just looking at this, but this is just me being funny, and you know, I like my things. Ideally you stamp him so that the bauble actually hangs straight down, so I could have tilted it a little bit, but it doesn't matter. So I'm just giving this enough time for the ink to seep into the cardstock. Yeah, lovely. So, and then something that Joe Rice reminded us about again at the Dreamatorium is blot your VersaFine Clair ink. I never do this, so I've got some scrap paper here, ideally not the bit where I've already got a bit of ink, and you blot this because then you're less likely to smear it when you do something else afterwards. She always does that. Nothing came off here, but never mind, you'll be safe. So, and then I'm going to do some watercolouring. Again, this is inspired by what I saw at the Dreamatorium. They all the design team members like to use the Mondelez watercolour pens. I don't have those. I have got these Derwent watercolour pens, and they're good as well. I just saw somebody today asking on the Lavinia Facebook group, you know, does she have to replace hers? What's the difference? I always say use what you have. You don't need to have watercolour pencils. You can just use normal crayons. You can use your Z colours. You can use alcohol markers. Just use what you have. Yeah, whatever you enjoy using. So I just want a little bit of brown. I'm just looking maybe a warmish brown. This one's called terracotta. And I'm not even doing much shading. Let me just zoom in a little bit for you. So I just want to put some ink down, but because I want to come in with a little bit of water to spread this about, I don't want to put too much down. I am conscious because I've got a water reactive ink underneath. When I come in with water, I will actually shift that about. So be mindful of that. If you don't like the look of that, then maybe don't use water on this. But I think it'll be okay. There's just a little bit of blue behind that. And the bauble, I think I'm going to use this as a Crimson Lake, which is a dark red. don't think I need to do much to the branch. I will come in with like a gold pen or something afterwards for the sort of metal elements of that bauble, and I want a little bit of pink in his ears. I've got a rose pink here. So I think with his nose I might come in with a different pen afterwards. So very basic shading, but that's the idea of these videos. Keep it simple, you know, don't do too much. It's just supposed to be a quick craft. So then I've got my water bottle here, so I'm just putting a little bit of water on my tile. And I've got a fine brush here, hoping that it's a cleanish one. So I'm testing it on the side. Nope, it's a mucky one. So let me just find a clean one. So I'm just picking up a little bit of water. I don't want this to be too wet. I'm using, by the way, I'm using my usual 300 GSM from UK Crafts, so that can hold the bit of water. So let me just zoom in again. The light's not the greatest today, but I find these colours intensify a little bit when you do use the water, but you don't have to. So I'm just moving this about. And by applying a little bit more in one area and then just using the water to move it about, you get the shading that I sometimes struggle to get that just by colouring. So by not applying too much colour and then just moving it about, I get a nice shading. But also the stamp obviously provides that as well, because the fur obviously is denser here on the back. So, and I think that's all I want to do. As I said, you could put a little bit of colour there, but I'm happy with that. So I'm just leaving that to dry for just a moment, and then in the meantime I'm going to pick some pens for the details. I have chosen for the bauble to use my gold Artistro glitter pen. This is an acrylic pen and it's got some glitter in it. I'm really happy with these and I've had them for years. But there are other brands. I think Posca do glitter pens as well. You can use a gel pen. I've never really been lucky with those. And then I bought this at Lavinia Stamps on Friday, the Mangaka Opaque liner. So I'll be using that to add some snow. And for the little nose there, I'm just going to use a black gel pen. I will do that last because that needs the longest to dry. So, and I've already got my scrap paper here and I've tested my pen. It needs pumping, but when you've got pens that need pumping, make sure they don't leak. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to basically more or less dab this on. I think I won't bother about the little detail of the chain because I think I will just mess that up. So just a little bit there. And then something that Jo Rice did, she added a little bit on those lines. But she used a gel pen, I think. See, it's actually, oops. It's actually not, it's sort of leaked a little bit on that side, but I'm not bothering about that. So, and then this pen. Let me just test that again. So it needs pumping a little bit, but not too much. And I just want to add some snow rather than splatting it. I've never been really lucky with that. I think this is great. And I can also add a bit of snow here at the bottom just to ground the mouse. If you don't want to do that in white, you can use a little bit of, you know, the watercolor pencil, maybe in a blue even. But I just think I just have a little bit of snow there. Can you see? So maybe have a little bit of snow on the ears. And again, I'm more sort of dabbing than actually, you know, doing a straight line. Maybe a bit on the back of the fur, paws here. And then I can add some on the branches as well. And this is lovely because it's a properly opaque pen. That works really nicely. It does disappear a little bit on the blue background, but when you tilt the card it's nice, and it is actually a matte pen, so I could use some stickles afterwards like I did on the first one if I want to. So on this gel pen, again, I have to test that on the side because sometimes it is quite lumpy, so don't go straight to your card. And when I find it flows freely, then I can just dab this on here. And that just gives a nice little nose there. So I think I will use the white pen as well, just to put a few sort of highlights on the orb. You know, where you've got the little dots. I think that would be nice. And maybe a little bit of snow on the top as well. Yeah, and I think that's all I'm doing to this one. Obviously, I will add some twine afterwards. But yeah, I'm tempted to add actually a little bit of something dark at the bottom. Let me just grab a blue pen. This is already dry, so probably add a little bit of blue after all to ground this. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this. They are so cute, the mice. Maybe it needs a little bit of a cheek, but that's just me faffing around now. A bit of red there. Yeah, that's lovely. So yeah, just a little play for my 12 tags of Christmas. I hope you like this one too. Yeah, and I can only encourage you to have a play with the stamps that you've got. And the good thing about working on a small scale like this, it's a quick make and it's just a few minutes of fun. And yeah, I hope you like this one, and you stay tuned for my series and have a look what I create with the other tag I already have prepared.